there a lack of good men, or are women's standards just too high? That's the question that I want to know from you all tonight. And I've got a video that I want to share. But I see the Alabama church girl getting her posture ready already. But I'm going to hit Antoinette up first this time. What do you think, Antoinette?
Ooh-wee. So, lack
Mm-hmm.
in
Ooh-wee.
men. Lack in men, of course. Maybe responsibilities, maybe discipline, maybe lacking discipline,
So
maybe
what do you mean? What
lack
do you mean?
well lacking discipline and loyalty. So everybody, these new age men from a different pot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is different,
Mm-hmm.
real different. Like one of them told me, hey, I make enough money where I could pay for somebody to do something so I don't have to get my hands dirty. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, for what? Okay, then we can't we can't kick it. We can't kick it because I need you to get your hands dirty. I need you to know how to garden. I need you to know how to do the mechanics. I need you to know how and
Mm-hmm.
when to open the door, pump the gas. Okay, it's fine and dandy to have money to pay for stuff, but when you just start forgetting how to do basic things, it's like those basic things that a man does is what turns a woman on.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. So it's not the lack in men, it's the lack in techniques, it's the lack in different skill sets. Okay, because anybody could grind and be creative and whatever in the bedroom, but when you aren't able to uh, exhibit different things with your hands, your mind, and your body, then I'm not interested. So it's not a lack in men; it's just a lack in discipline, loyalty, skill sets, things of that nature. Now, our standards too high? I think that it's not so much of our standards, but it's the way that we're executing our wants. Of course, we hold ourselves to a higher standard, but it's how we communicate our excellence with our men. And
Mm-hmm.
some women, like we said before, do not know how to effectively communicate. So when we held our standards up to where we are, like, oh, I got to get my nails done, I got to get my makeup, I got to get my bath and body works so I can smell good. Of course, these are things you should be doing anyway. These are like the basic things. But the way that we've added more glitz and glam to it makes it seem like it's on a different echelon. Okay. And we were trying to make it to where our men are like, oh, well, if you can't do this and have this Brazilian press and all this other stuff for me done, your standards is too low for me. And that's not the
Mm-hmm.
case. We need to be able to communicate, hey, I enjoy taking care of myself, right? So I expect you to also take care of yourself so we can take care of ourselves together. If I'm getting a pedicure, you need to be having a pedicure with me. If we can't afford to, go out and have these pedicures at the same time, guess what? You gonna do my feet and I'm gonna do yours. Because at the end of the day, while I'm rubbing your feet and I'm pulling them little hairs out your toe and doing all these little scrubs and that little hangnail on the big toe and we pulling it and then we tending to it.
On the big
These are
toe.
these are conversations, because then what you're doing when a man and a woman says, oh, I know every inch on my partner's body, you can literally say that because you have taken your hands, your mind, your conversations, and your connection and made that, that connection with your
Mm.
person. So those are how your standards get high together. But if you're just doing it solely, right, you're going to be that one star by yourself. The North Star may be that star that leads the way, but you have to have a whole galaxy that comes together, right? To create a cluster that then creates that entire planet. So it becomes unified. But standards and lack, there's just how we look at it. Discipline, loyalty, and how we effectively communicate with one another.
Okay, let me ask you this, Antoinette. Do you think that sometimes now it is, let me throw this disclaimer out there. There's absolutely nothing wrong with knowing your worth, knowing what you can deal with or what you can't deal with. That's absolutely fine. However, at the same time, I think that we need to realize that everybody is not perfect. And with all of the good that we like in a person, it's going to come with some bad too. Because everybody got, everybody has some kind of hang up or, something that, for the lack of a better term, need to work on. So do you think that sometimes the list that women want in a man might be a little bit too long?
I think we get complacent, and it's not so much of the list being too long. It's just everybody gets set in their ways, and then everybody has excuses, and then we build off of those justifications because we're comfortable in what we set forward because we had those bad examples ahead of the game. And then when you finally meet that person that's fitting everything that you done prayed for and you done manifested and you done put on that vision board, you don't know how to act because we're ignorant to the fact of knowing what that true and that genuine love is. So it's not that list is long, it's just that we don't know how to actually follow through with that list. And when that list becomes a reality, it's a shock. And so when you deal with the shock, you go back to just lashing out and being ignorant with it. And I'm not saying ignorant in a bad term, but I'm saying ignorant to the fact that you've never experienced that level of love before. You've never experienced and had someone acknowledge your list and be like, hey, let me go ahead and meet you halfway. So sometimes we miss the boat and, we stab our own selves in the foot.
Okay. I can dig it. I want to go to the Alabama church girl. And I want to ask you, Ms. Valerie, before we dive a little bit deeper into this, because I got a video that I want to play, that I want us to react to. But let me ask Alabama church girl, what do you think? Is there a lack of good men, or are women's standards just too high? What do you think?
I think, yes, there is a lack of good men, available good men, because I do believe there are good men in this world and in our communities. And I think that women's standards are too low. When I say that, what is it that we really should be looking for in a mate? It's really simple. You should look for someone like those vows that we repeat at the altar that's going to love, honor, and cherish you. You should look for someone that's going to be that life partner in sickness and in health, to death do you part. That life partner that's going to be there for better or for worse, for richer, in my case, for richer or richer. Because that's what I committed to at the altar. But I mean, the vows, the traditional vows do say for richer or for poor. But I mean, those are the things that we should really be looking for. But when we start adding these other things, and since we mentioned lists, I just had to grab pen and paper.
Okay.
Because that's simple. Love, honor, cherish. Of course, you want somebody that you can trust. Someone who is honest. When you got all this over here, that's a short list in my opinion. Y'all excuse my handwriting. I can't write that well, okay?
You good?
But that's a short list. But then when you start adding all this other stuff, they got to make 6 figures or better. They got to live in Win Lakes neighborhood. They got to live. They got to work downtown at the courthouse. You know, all that other stuff, which really is trivial. And what starts happening is we start focusing on this side of the chart, and then we negotiate this. I mean, just think about it. Think about it. Even you listen to these women who are habitual athletes, girlfriends, and wives. They speak as though there's an understanding that if you get a man with all this over here, that don't expect him to be faithful. That becomes trivial to them. When faithfulness should have been one of the things. Let me put this on the list. Faithfulness. Faithfulness should have been one of your non-negotiables.
I agree.
But when you have a man, ambitious. Let me say that, because I got to have that.
Hey, yo. That ambition, that's gonna be a whole nother discussion for another show. But yeah, I love it. I love it. Keep going. You doing good.
But you understand what I'm saying? When you start adding all this other stuff that, you know, they got to be 6 feet tall and they got to have 9-inch. they got to have a 4-inch width. You know.
All of that stuff, huh?
They got to wear a size 15 shoe. All that stuff is trivial.
Well, you know, I tend to agree, but at the same time, do you think that it's a lot of ladies out there that's putting too much into that other side of the list that you were just talking about instead of that main list? What should have been that main list?
Yes, I do. But that's what I mean by standards being too low. Because this is all exterior stuff. What is their family life like? How do they treat the people that they've always been closest to in their life? You know, what are your relationships with your family? Because when I married you, I got to marry them too. Right. All of that. My relationship with you is in direct conjunction with your relationship to them. You know, those type things are what we really should be looking for. And that's why I say sometimes our standards are too low.
I like that spin that you put on it. I like it a lot. And, you know, I think that this is the time now to, you know, kind of get this message out, because it bothers me, because I just feel like I think that we would see more people in our community getting together if we didn't focus so much on that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I've said it before. What if you pass somebody up that has all of those qualities in a person that holds up those vows that you were talking about, but they're missing something on that other list that's trivial, and then you pass them by? Who says that you're going to get another chance? You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you a story. True story now. This woman, she was interested in this guy. He was interested in her a little more than she was interested in him. And he just about checked everything off of her list except one thing. He was not 6 feet tall. And for whatever reason, she couldn't get over it, right? I mean, they had fun together. He treated her right, opened doors, took care of her, all that stuff. And it was, the efforts were reciprocated or whatever, but he wasn't as tall as she would have liked him to be. And she found herself, you know, looking at taller men, being attracted to taller men or whatever, and, you know, thinking some thoughts and comparing the guy that was treating her right, that had most of the qualities on her list, but she left him because she couldn't get over the height requirement, right? So a little bit of time goes by, she gets with somebody else, and the dude that she got with, he was a little bit taller or whatever, and she just always thought about the previous guy. Like, even though she got with somebody that was taller, that fit that requirement, she never really found somebody that had those same qualities as the shorter guy, right? So she got with this new guy. They were doing good for a little while. Taller, everything was all right. But the previous guy had moved on, had a family, kids, all that good stuff. And she bumped into him one day, and all of those mixed emotions start coming back, and went back home to the taller guy. And she was talking to one of her homegirls on the phone and was like, look, this guy is cool or whatever, but he'll never match up to the previous guy that was not as tall. And the new guy overheard it. And that was something that he couldn't get over. He tried to get over it himself. They tried to talk about it or whatever, but still, that made the taller guy insecure about the shorter guy, right? That's usually something that we don't see. So the new guy, he couldn't get over it. So she lost out on both of them.